Hi everyone, it's Lydia here at Lydia's Leisurely Stitching, and welcome to my Flosstube channel where I talk about my cross-stitching work. It's good to be back for my 7th episode, and today is Sunday, December 15th, 2019. So the last time I talked to you was on December 1st, and I left the video feeling like there was something I was forgetting to say, and I remembered what it was. My husband has been gone on a business trip since then. He's been to visit Arizona, and then he went to Melbourne and Sydney in Australia, and now he's in Taiwan. And he'll be heading back late this week, and I'm really excited to see him. But with him being gone, I've been kind of lonely, but I've had lots of stitching time. And because I've been sitting around feeling lonely, it gave me the motivation to finally work up the courage and take a visit to the people over at the Virtual Stitchers Facebook group. And I just want to have a big shout out to them and say thank you to them for welcoming me and being kind and having a nice place for stitchers to get together. It's special to me because I don't know any stitchers in my real life. I live in Georgia, and I know there's a bunch of Flosstubers in Georgia, but I've never met any of them, and there are no stitching shops here. So logging on to Virtual Stitchers and seeing other people stitching and having them understand what a hate is and why I spend my evenings sitting in this chair looking at strange charts with symbols and stuff, it's been really nice. And so I've enjoyed my time there, and I hope that I get to keep going back. With my husband coming back, that's going to limit the amount of time that I'm home alone in the evenings, so it might cut down on how much I'm visiting, but I'm hoping to still be able to make time to come and hang out with all of the cool people I've met there so far and meet new ones. So when I last talked to you on the 1st of December, I talked about how my goal for the end of the year was to finish a page on both of my Hades. I'm working on Coral City by Ciro Marchetti, and I'll go ahead and put in a picture here of what it looked like when it's finished and what it looked like last time I showed it to you. Now, this is kind of my secondary piece. It's not my main focus, but I did want to make sure I got page finish on it, and a little bit of chaos ensued. I didn't come back and film my video last week, and I kind of jumped out of my rotation and just did whatever I felt like, and that was stitching on Coral City. And when I was hanging out with the Virtual Stitchers the other day, I got my first page finish. So here it is, first page of Coral City, and I'm really excited to have this done. I feel like it means a lot to me that when I start a big full coverage piece like this, I get at least a page finish on it so that I don't start a bunch of them and then have 20 stitches in it and feel like it's never really been started. So now I have a good jumping off point for when I pick this back up again. It's kind of interesting. I started this in August when I was visiting Australia with my husband. That time I got to go with him on the business trip, and we were in Australia for 3 weeks. So I started this piece. I'd been wanting to do it for a long time, and being there and seeing so much of the beautiful ocean, it gave me a good excuse to start it. So I think it's kind of fitting that I started it there, and now I've finished the first page while I'm missing my hubby who's back in Australia. So that's one goal down, and that has kind of like taken some of the pressure off. I feel like now I won't have any problems meeting my next year-end goal, which is a page finish on my other Hade, A Place of Her Own, which I'll show you in a minute. And I can kind of relax a little bit and not feel so worried about if I'm going to reach my goals or not. Speaking of a place of her own, I also had kind of a hallmark reach on that this week. I reached the end of the row, of the first row, so now I have the complete width of the page of the chart finished. So I'll go ahead and show it to you. I'm gonna have to stand up because it's a big one. So this is the first quarter of the chart. Originally my goal for this year was to get this first quarter finished, and I did that. I think it took me about 4 pages to do that. So I did those first 4 pages, and I reached that in June. And so then I said, well, I've still got a lot of time left. Let's see if I can go all the way to the other end of the piece. So I stitched these other 5 pages, and this is the complete width of the project. And it would have been good for me to look up and see exactly how long this is, but I didn't. So here it is. So this is 5 pages across from the middle point to here. And my goal for the rest of the year is just to finish this last page. So I've got most of the frame for this Rembrandt painting done. I've got a few to fill in, and then there's some more wallpaper over here to work on. Since I last showed this to you, I've done about 2,000 stitches. And I wanted to also give a shout out to the Full Coverage Fanatics Facebook group. Last year they did the By the Numbers 1200 challenge, and this year they've continued on with it and have done, both By the Numbers 1200 and 2400 challenges. I have done all of those challenges, and I've done almost all of them on a place of her own. And it's interesting to see how I have evolved and learned to have faith in my abilities. At the beginning of the year, I had set a goal for myself to do about 400 stitches a week on a place of her own in order to get those 4 pages done to complete the first 25% square, if you will. And then in June, after I finished that, I was like, well, maybe I can do more. And so I figured out how much I need to do those 5 additional pages, and it was about 850 stitches a week. Here we are in December, and I'm excited. I'm pretty confident that I'm going to be able to meet my goal, and I'm currently averaging about 1,200 stitches a week. So in the past 2 years, I have gone from struggling to get 1,200 stitches a month to doing 1,200 stitches a week. And I'm really grateful for that group for allowing me to challenge myself and find out more about my abilities. I'm excited to see what happens next year. They're doing a By the Parks, United States National Parks Challenge to stitch 4,000 stitches on 25 parks, which is 100,000 stitches. That is a lot, and I'm not sure I can do that. This year I've put in about 45,000 stitches on a place of her own, and that's impressive, but 100,000 stitches is more than double that. So I don't know if I can do that, but 2 years ago I didn't know that I could do 1,200 stitches a month. So who knows, it might be good for me to step up to another challenge and see if I surprise myself again. So yeah, I'm I'm really looking forward to the new year and new challenges and making more progress on my full coverage pieces. So it's December and I don't do a lot of decorating, but I do have 1 or 2 pieces for each season or so. And I've put up my Christmas decorations and I wanted to share my cross-stitch pieces with you. This one is Chilled December. It's the December pattern from Prairie Schooler. It says, Chill December brings the sleet, a blazing fire, and holiday treat. And I finished this piece in 2018, and I think I just got around to framing it earlier this year. And I really like these Prairie Schoolers, they're very cute. And one more cross-stitch piece that I have for Christmas is a big one. This one I finished in 2015. It's Santa's Village by, I believe, Country Cottage Needleworks. Might be Little House Needleworks, but they're very similar. And this one hangs up above my fireplace. It's a doozy, and I enjoyed working on it. I started cross-stitching in 2014, so this was my first really big piece that I worked on and completed. It's on a light blue Aida. I was looking at it and asking my husband which ones were his favorites. He said that Mrs. Claus Cookie Shop was his favorite. I really like the reindeer stables and the little elf. And today I was looking at the candy canes here, which I don't usually pay much attention to, but I've got to say that's a pretty curve on that candy cane. So there it is, Santa's Village. So in terms of plans, I'm planning on working on a place of her own, trying to get that page finished. If I finish that page before the end of the year, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet. I have some gridding to do on it to prepare for next year, but that shouldn't take me too long. Being in the Virtual Stitchers group, they are a bunch of enablers, very, very evil people, getting you to start extra projects when you don't need extra projects. But when I purchased Coral City earlier this year, I also purchased Fantastic Mushroom Lodge. It's also a Haid, and I can put in a picture here of what it looks like. And I kitted it up at the same time that I kitted up Coral City. And I asked my husband which one he wanted me to start first, and he preferred Coral City because it is on 18 count Aida, just like a place of her own, and he wants it because he wants it to be big. Now, Fantastic Mushroom Lodge is for me. I grew up in the woods, and I like all the greenery and the whimsical feel of it. And I've decided that I want to do a little bit of advancing. I don't usually stitch on linen or even weave, but for that one I did get a piece of 28 count Lugana, and I've already gridded it the first couple of pages on it. It's all kitted up, and with the Virtual Stitchers talking about New Year, New Starts, and Year of Starts for 2020, I've been thinking about when I can start that. And I think I've come up with a good idea, because I would like to start it in the spring and stitch on it in the spring when everything is turning green and when I'm ready to see some green. And they're talking about doing Year of Starts and starting something every month on the 29th day. So I think that I'm going to start Fantastic Mushroom Lodge on February 29th. That happens to be a Saturday, so maybe I can stay up late starting it with the Virtual Stitchers and chat with them, and then I could work on it for the month of March. So those are my plans. Thank you everyone for visiting me, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.